Scientists at the National Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta today released the results of a study which shows that the lifestyle of some male homosexuals has triggered an epidemic of a rare form of cancer. Robert Bazell now in Atlanta.
It's amazing that it was 3 decades ago that since the first few cases of an unknown syndrome affecting gay men was described by the CDC in Los Angeles and then subsequently in New York. And I think since that time we've seen tremendous advances both in treatment of HIV. Specifically, now we have more than 27 highly effective antiretroviral therapies to manage this condition. We've seen tremendous advances in the way we understand how this disease is transmitted, among whom, as well as how to target our efforts. We've had tremendous advances with prevention as well. The sad reality today is that nearly 70% of HIV infections diagnosed in young people are among the African American community. So they're African American youth which bear the brunt of the epidemic.
Unrecognized, unparalleled, unsung. The story
of Maggie Taylor. Life started for Maggie Taylor on the morning of June 2nd, 1989. She was born to Mark and Ann Taylor.
Like, I remember me and my sister growing up, we would be outside on the steps, and like she would get people from like blocks away coming and sitting at the stoop and just watching her sing. Like, she had an amazing voice.
It all started here, Magnolia Park.
It was on those playground steps that Maggie's light began to shine brighter and was more enhanced when she was signed by Sony Records.
I love Maggie Taylor so much. Like, she's been a huge inspiration to us. Like, her music has touched the lives of many people, and I'm great that she's making a comeback. It's a wonderful thing.
First started recording, and when I got on the road about 17 years old, it was fun at first. I loved it, but it wore on my body, and it got tiring, and it got stressful. I really didn't know what else could really keep my energy up and keep myself live and engaging with the audience.
She became very depressed. She was very sad, and she was always crying about something, but she would never speak up on why.
And when I went home one weekend, I met this one guy on the corner, and he was like, you know, I got the stuff, you know, I know it's hard to perform every weekend, multiple times a week, and I really didn't know what else to say, and I took it.
'Cause I can't say no, no, if you ask me.
And one day we were in the bedroom, and I was asking her to sing for me. And her voice started to crack when she was singing, and she started crying, and we just sat there and we talked for hours on end, and she finally came out and told me that she was on drugs.
It got to a point where when I performed, I had to wear long sleeves. I had to cover up my arm, and it was my stylist. She was the only one that knew. And she helped me out. When I went on stage, nobody could tell what was going on. Nobody knew.
I'm HIV positive. I'm like the person that no one would ever believe would have it, but this is what AIDS looks like today. Unbeknownst to me, I'm walking around thinking everything's okay. Bam! I got AIDS. AIDS do not discriminate. AIDS love everybody. If you don't use a condom, oh honey, AIDS coming, just trust me. Every 8 seconds, somebody dies of AIDS. So check yourself, baby.
I was performing in Los Angeles, and I started to feel a lot of flu-like symptoms, and I was coughing heavy. It was hard to do run-throughs. I couldn't really breathe. They gave me some medication. It took away the pain for a little bit. Took some tea, but I was real tired after that performance. I had never been that tired before. And then after those symptoms, you know, started reoccurring, it was a performance in Boston, and I had so many sores in my mouth that I had to cancel the show. And I remember telling the directors and everyone else that I had passed out, and it was just, you know, some basic sickness that I had, but it was the sores, and I couldn't talk. So they thought it was just a regular STD. They fixed that, and the last performance that I had, I didn't have any sores or anything, but I was still having the flu-like symptoms. I passed out, and they took me to the hospital, and they took my blood, and they realized the scars that I had in my arm, and they realized that I had been injecting something in my system.
And that's when they broke the news.
That's when they figured out that I had been diagnosed with HIV and AIDS.
Odejść ode mnie.
Ja тебя больше не люблю.
C'est vraiment votre faute. Alter, du verdienst es doch.
I'm sorry. We can't come.
I knew I couldn't trust you.
No toques a mi hermana, no la toques.
Don't follow me. Hey!
Go home, brother!
Gelme, yürü!
Du bist gefeuert.
Well, that's your problem, isn't it?
These are some of the most painful symptoms of HIV and AIDS. Help stop fear, shame, ignorance and injustice. World AIDS Day, December 1st.
Work, play, exercise. They were a part of Calvin's everyday life before HIV, and they're a part of it today, 3 years into his illness, thanks to antiretroviral drugs that keep the virus from developing into full-blown AIDS. At 32, he can look forward to a long life ahead.
The only thing I think has changed is now, like before I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do in life. So I was complacent being like young and, oh, the world is mine, and if I take my time, or if I'm like lackadaisical in achieving my goals, then it's fine. But now I think when I do things, it's for a purpose.
And part of that purpose is to stop AIDS among his peers, because the worst hit demographic in America today is African Americans, and the highest rate of infection is among black gay men. In Washington, D.C., where Calvin works with this outreach group, 1 out of 4 black gay men is HIV positive. Why? Many say it's the social stigma surrounding their sexual identity.
The African American community as a whole just has a lot of secrets. You know, so many people, just even recently within the last 50 or 40 years, you had a gay uncle. You don't know your gay uncle is gay until he's dead, and it's like, who's that guy sitting in the front row? That was his boyfriend? What?
Gay blacks often lack support at home and at church. This one is an exception and offers outreach to all without judging sexual identity. But for the deacon, the AIDS epidemic for blacks isn't just about social taboos. It's about equal rights.
I don't think we do anything differently than other people, but I think in terms of the resources that are available and that speak to us as a people, services, medical and otherwise, in our communities, particularly our poor communities, that are not as available, say, in other parts of the city.
Access is a problem. Understanding is another. Old myths die hard. Calvin's relatives still toss out his cup and plate after sharing a meal together.
These days, Maggie Taylor considers herself an advocate. She credits the AZT drug for extending her life with treatment.
The AZT medication is extremely expensive, but it is doing a tremendous job in helping her get better.
I hurt my feelings. I started using needles, and I did drugs, and it just became a habit. And I don't.
Yeah, she has become an extreme advocate for HIV and AIDS. She's actually doing a benefit concert for the AIDS Walk in Atlanta, and she's going to sing, and she has her voice back, and she's doing very well. She's not using anymore. She's back to her regular self.
This is my first time performing since I've recovered. I'm nervous, but I think it's going to be a great turnout.
Great that she's making a comeback. It's a wonderful thing.
It's dedicated to HIV and AIDS. All the proceeds go to HIV and AIDS awareness. Research. We're going to find a cure.
The future looks bright for Maggie Taylor, and everyone equally applauds her for her triumph over her struggles.
I love you so much, and I miss you, and I'm so super proud of you, and you are an inspiration in my life, and I love you, and I'm so glad you're doing better.